1.
Amazing. And we're
50
live.
something.
52.
I lost count.
I believe.
No, I think 53.
53 then, I believe. And we're on.
53, yeah. 50 something. And
To
we
Ian
are
Parton.
joined by Mr. Ian Parton.
Thanks for coming on.
Is part of the Go team.
That's me.
The Go team. I
Amazing.
said that right?
Yes.
English is not my
Hmm.
first language, so...
Well, alrighty, yeah. The Go
Yeah.
team, the Go team. You guys released a new song 2 days ago, exclusive, right? Cookie scene.
Yeah.
Let's
Yep.
just jump right into it.
Without introducing our recurrent guest for the third time.
Everyone
Zach
knows who
Lorenz.
I am by
At
now.
this point,
I've been on
yeah.
3 times.
Yeah, Zach was our
Zachary Flint,
first guest, and he was on a couple days ago. And
He's our
on-
self-proclaimed music expert.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Correspondent.
So, let's jump right into it.
Mhm.
So, that song. First, I have to say I am not into the my genre of music. I should say is mainly hip hop, R&B, a little bit of blues, maybe some
Alright.
old music, 80s, 70s. You know, this is my kind of music. So. I would be lying if I said I'm a huge fan of what you do. I mean, I like your stuff. It's good, but it's really not for me. But it is for these two.
I will say that's not fair if you've only listened to the one song, Cookie Scene.
No, I
He
listen to
hasn't heard
Semicircle.
anything other
Yeah.
than-
I listen to Semicircle.
The
I
whole
listen
discography,
to,
all the genres you just named, like pop, right, punk, right, hip hop, right, soul,
Mm.
choir, all that is in different moments throughout his, the Go Team catalog.
could
right?
be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, and awesome.
All right.
Oh, for sure. And it's really cool how you bring it all together to make it to your own sound, right? You have your own sound, and you bring in all these different inputs. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about, Ian? When did you start playing music? When did you start playing music? How old are you? What's your first music memory?
Well, I remember as a kid, I would always be into the theme tunes to TV shows more than others. Maybe my ears would prick up when Charlie's Angels would come on and stuff like that. So I'm not particularly a good musician. I still struggle with chords and things like that. But I do have this ability to kind of, when I hear a good melody, I kind of just laser beam in on it, and I kind of hoard. I collect all these different ideas and stuff. So that's really what I've got going for me, is that I kind of zero in on things, and I kind of think of music as a pick a mixy type thing. And it's quite specific as well. I wouldn't just say I'm into soul. I'd say I'm into this person here, or I like this snare drum sound on this song, or I like the strings in this Bollywood song. You know what I mean? So it's quite specific. So I'd never answer a question, what music you into. I'd never say, I'm like a bit of everything, like everyone does these days. I'm like laser beam. I like this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And what instruments did you start off playing to begin with? I see a bunch of instruments behind you right now. You play all those? Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm really a drummer, I suppose. So I was always tapping when I was a kid, and I still do. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm always fidgeting and stuff like that. But then I guess, so from drums, I went to guitar. So the first record, Thunder Lightning Strike, I did the whole record on my own pretty much. So I was kind of, through cutting things up and putting things in time, I kind of created the illusion of being able to play all these instruments and that stuff. I can play harmonica and banjo. I can't play banjo, but yeah. So I can play a bit of everything really, but my attitude is the rest of the band members are so brilliant. They're better musicians than I am, so I normally kind of, once I've written the song, I farm it out. I get in my crew sort of thing.
So when you started off with, you said the first album, you made it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Why was it called the Go Team when it's just you to begin with?
Yeah, good question.
Where'd that name come from?
Well, I mean, I read an article about plane crashes, and it said that the people that go and investigate the plane crash are called the Go Team. and I kind of wrote it in my little book. In fact, I've probably got the little book here. Yeah, so it's actually in here, and it's in 1993, and so that's how long ago I'd written it. And when I was looking back through, when I was picking my potential band names, it sort of jumped out at me. So, good question though. Why is it? I've always been into the idea of teams and gangs and gang vocals and stuff like that. So I don't like the idea of a lone person with a laptop noodling away. It's not. I don't dig that. I'm into gangs. There you go. That's the
Go team, the original.
1993.
This is like a piece of history right there. It's like of the Go team, right? Have you ever showed this to anyone before?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, like on a podcast or on a TV show or.
I did a Tim's listening party, and I showed some of these the other day. There's a song on the first album called "Feel Good" by Numbers, and that's written there. So, so I'd kind of hoard lots of little ideas in these books and store them away and wait. There's another Go Team song called "Fake ID," So yeah. But,
so when you started off, it was you on your own, and you'd imagine that at some point it'd branch out into a team. Because the first like album is like a lot of instruments, right? A lot of samples, right? Like, how did you know? Like, how did you imagine it spread the way it did and grow?
Well, I guess I was imagining what I thought the band should be. I was imagining lots of us. I was imagining boys and girls. I was imagining perhaps different nationalities. So just, I've always liked bands with girls in them, the Velvet Underground or, Sonic Youth or whatever. So to have that sort of feminine dimension was a big deal for me, particularly as at the time, like The Enemy was kind of always had this kind of wet dream about male skinny boys with guitars. It was like a little club. All these boys, with tight jeans and stuff. So I kind of wanted to be anti that. I wanted to be the anti-indie bands in a way.
So speaking of the Go Team, let's talk about the members. So I have here like a picture, right, of like different band members. Here, I'll put this right here. Okay.
This is the cover art for Semicircle. Is that how you pronounce it in England? Semicircle? How do you guys say it?
we say semicircle, but
Semicircle.
Semi, don't they? Yeah. Okay, so if you can see this girl here above the E with the reds.
Right, her.
That's Ninja. She's the live lead singer, and she appears on records quite a bit as well, but not always.
All right.
And she's the most amazing front woman ever. Have any of you seen us live?
I saw you guys in 2016 in Cambridge, and Ninja was there for that. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
All right.
And so who else was there? Simone is the girl with the marching drum.
So right here, this girl over here.
Yeah, that's the one. Sam up here with the flip down shades above the sousaphone. That's Sam. So me, Sam, and Ninja
above are
the ones that we've been in it the longest. So we were there from day one. This girl here with the shiny dress, Mackie, she's actually left the group now, but yeah, she was on guitar. But we've had a new girl called Nia join her, and there's me pretending to play a trumpet over here.
You don't play trumpet? Oh, you can't play trumpet?
No.
And who's everyone else?
They're all just people we got together. It's the real band members are kind of mixed in there, but yeah, they're just a bunch of randoms, really.
Oh, just a bunch of randoms.
Like extras on set, I guess.
Well, that was and that was in a high school. Where was that taken?
Yeah,
Auditorium?
I've always.
Sport?
It was in South London. Yeah, I've got. I've always been into the idea of like recording in gymnasiums and stuff, that kind of wooden floor and the kind of cavernous sound and the kind of ramshackleness of school bands, you know, that feel. So I guess I was trying to conjure up those kind of ideas and make it quite almost like an updated Sergeant Pepper, I guess, you know.
And yeah, let's wait. So that first song on that album, Mayday, how many instruments? That's a very like loud song with a lot of instruments and vocals. Can you break down? Like, it's hard for me to really, with my ears, understand how many instruments are playing there, how many people are singing. Can you break?
Oh man, too much. I mean, the vocals are. The vocals. I went to Detroit and recorded with a community choir. So there are a bunch of girls, sort of teenage girls. I just got them to shout. There's Simone on the drums, but then there's drum samples mixed in with it as well. The drums, there's real horns, the samples playing, but we had a sort of sitar doing. So there's also a whole bunch of stuff going on. But you know, I like every song generally has about sort of 6 ideas kind of glued together. And these ideas have existed on their own for months or years, potentially. Like I try things, I grab different things and I stick them next to each other. And once I came up with the idea of kind of the Morse code, beep, 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 and the idea about kind of like a love emergency, and then the whole thing just kind of fitted into place, you know.
Interesting. So does the Morse code actually like say anything, or is it just the?
No.
Oh man, that would have been cool though. If you think about it, that would have been like a pretty cool thing.
That'd been Sergeant
like,
Pepper's.
If you got them, like if you took the Morse code and you just put it out and it spells like the Go Team, for example. So,
yeah, people think it does, but I never correct them when they say that. But I was more into the rhythm, working with the drums, you know.
Not bad.
And you said you went to Detroit to see a choir. You couldn't find a choir in the UK?
It was a particular sound. I mean, I kind of, for some reason, I do gravitate towards American voices a lot. There's a particular kind of gang vocals that we wouldn't. You know, you could get that in Britain, and I like black voices as well. I've always had a thing for that kind of accents and stuff like that.
I mean,
so I knew that I'd have to go to the real and get the real deal. You know, I'd have to go there and really get the real McCoy. You know.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but is this like an all girls band, or is it just is it like a boys and girls?
The choir, you mean?
No, the actual Go Team themselves, because I'm not too sure. Like the videos I've watched, when I heard the songs, I was hearing the songs, right? So I was like, I wasn't really looking at the phone, but yeah. So
it's hard. It's normally half and half. So at the minute, there's me, Sam, and Adam, the bassist.
All right.
And then we have Ninja, Nia, and Simone, and then we have 2 girl brass players as well. So
all right.
Yeah, we're kind of outnumbered. The fellas are on the road.
Okay.
You know, there's 5 girls and 3 men.
I mean, if you're always looking to equal it out and you're looking for nationalities, I play the guitar. Yeah, I know. You know,
we're all music.
We can.
And we're also international. I see like a bunch of your like influences are like from all over the place. As you said, USA, UK, Bollywood, right? A lot of funk, pop, disco. What does it mean to you to have like a? Are you trying to have like a global outreach, or is like, or what does it mean to you? Is it just the input, or?
I think it's just recognizing that you can simultaneously be into all of this stuff, you know, and every country has stuff going for it. You know, whether it's Serge Gainsbourg or like you say, Bollywood or krautrock or whatever, you know. So it's kind of, I always think of it as like your life flashing before your eyes and you kind of grab just your favorite thing. So the Go Team for me is about your favorite things all jammed together and seeing no reason why you can't do that, you know. It's quite self-indulgent and quite me-ish, you know. So everyone could create their own version of that idea, I suppose. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You were gonna say Ali.
I can go ahead. I wanted to ask about the Detroit some more. So how did that happen? So you wanted to record this album, you had everything written out, and you like just picked the band, you flew out, recorded.
Yeah, I mean, I was imagining a community choir, you know, really kind of ramshackle, rough around the edges. So I think I fired out some emails to various people around America, and this was the most enthusiastic. There was a bloke called Mr. White, who was the choir leader, who was like, even I called him Mr. White, you know. He was like, he really helped me out. He was like properly reining them in, because you can imagine that I was trying to wrangle like 100 kids.
There were 100 kids in that choir?
Loads, and all the families turned up, brothers and sisters. I had to get like industrial amount of KFC in for them, like buckets of this shit. So it was kind of a wrangling process, but I knew within this room there was something worth capturing, you know, the rawness of it, you know. So the go team is, I'm pulled in so many different directions all at the same time, you know. I want it to be catchy, but I want it to be really raw, like it's thrown together. You know, I slave over these songs for months, but I want it to sound like it's just happening, you know, like it's coming at you. And
I think that really came through, like coming from like the scene between to this, it's so many new voices hearing on the album. And I think that no matter who you get to sing or who does vocals, including the new track, that it always still sounds like the Go Team. And that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know why that is, if it's my sense of melody or if it's the production that kind of sort of glues it all together.
I wonder I feel like no matter what the vocal effects are very like consistent throughout your discography. Like there's just like the way it's recorded, or maybe it's the way it's like mastered into the mix is always very consistent, I feel. And like whether it's Ninja or Maki or anyone singing it, it's very clear, like it always comes through as like very unique to you guys.
Okay, that's interesting, because I don't really mess with it too much. I mean, I distort it and stuff as usual, like I do most things, but there's no magical thing. I mean, I do like things trashy. For me, trashiness and treble is a sound of being alive, you know, that kind of buckling under the weight and red limiting things and stuff, you know. The sound of imperfection is basically the sound of life for me, you know. When you make things too Coldplay and too manicured and perfect, it's getting further and further away from real life for me, you know. I want it to be, you know, there's a reason why when you're in a wedding reception and, you know, Motown comes on, or, you know, Stevie Wonder, that everyone digs it and everyone's dancing. Obviously it's songwriting, but it's the distortion and the excitement of it you get with that, just, you know.
So your first album, Thunder Lightning Strike, so was this recorded in like a studio, or how did that all come to be? So like walk us through what took place for it to happen.
Well, I mean, this was 15 years ago. I used to be a filmmaker. Well, I used to make TV documentaries for like a Discovery Channel about mummies and bog bodies.
Wait, you shot like a documentary on mummies?
Oh yeah, quite a few. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. But bodies buried in bogs and skeletons, and I did one in Florida, like about an 8,000-year-old bodies that were found in a bog in Florida. All sorts of stuff. Ice mummies. Sorts.
Where do you find ice mummies?
We went to Greenland. We went to the Andes. We went to Russia.
So you start off as a filmmaker, right?
Yeah. So I would, you know, but I've been doing music since I was in uni, and before I'd have like a 4-track, and I would get these shitty like Tijuana loops, you know, like brass loops, and put like white noise over it and stuff. So I've kind of always been obsessed with the idea of clashing sounds and stuff, and I would do that on a 4-track even when I was like 18, 19. So the idea of this the idea of this band's always kind of been there lurking. But so I'd come home from work after making making these documentaries and keep plugging away at this idea. The first song I wrote was what I was happy with. It's called Get It Together, which has kind of become known as the Little Big Planet theme, I suppose. But it was this really kind of messed up mix of recorders and electro and banjos and stuff. So I'd keep chipping away, and then eventually I'd had enough for an album, and I'd go to my folks' house, filled up a car with drums and all of my stuff, my samples and stuff like that. And when they were off on holiday, I'd set up the drum kit in the kitchen and everything else in the basement, and I'd keep running up and down stairs playing drums. Sometimes my grandma would come in and make a cup of tea whilst I was doing the drums and stuff, So really, I just made this album, just pleasing myself, just me. Went back to work at the end of it, put it out, and it's started to take off.
Gather the attention.
Yeah, what do you mean you put it out? How did it?
Well, I sent it. There was a label in UK called Memphis Industries who were really enthusiastic about it, and they were the first ones I really sent it to, and they were straight away into it. Stuck it out there. We didn't clear any of the samples because it was so small time. Literally, stick it out. Like something like Lady Flash would have 15 samples on it.
Is that a problem later on? Like for you?
It was, yeah. Eventually, we signed to a major label and they started panicking. So I had to we had to clear it and replay things. It was pretty horrible, but.
But I heard it was recorded in your parents' kitchen. Is that true?
Yeah.
The origin story.
So I guess I'm not the only one who is in love with the kitchen or gets these ideas or does most of my work in the kitchen. And it's not bad because when I study next to the kitchen. So.
All right.
How do you go about sampling nowadays? Because I always think of like the Avalanche's Wildflower problem, where it took them so long to clear everything, and there's so many samples on your first album. What's your approach to sampling nowadays? Are you as interested in? Are you more about recording songs and sampling them yourself?
It's still a mixture. I don't try not to lean too heavily on samples because it's kind of ethically and artistically dubious to just build a song around somebody else's stuff, I think. So whenever I do sample, I try and recontextualize it so much, reverse it, distort it, play different chords over the top of it, that it's kind of becomes a new thing and you can't spot it often, or it's so obscure. I don't really like sampling to things that are too famous or anything like that. And I'm quite prepared to give anyone whatever they want to keep the song as it should be, or sometimes we don't even clear if it's so unrecognizable, but we don't tell anyone that.
So how does on your end, Ian, you find like a song you're interested in, you're like, oh, I like this part of this song, I want to sample it, right? And then you clear it to make sure before you continue with it, or? No. There's a moment at the beginning of every album where I'm literally month, day after day, listening to records all day, and I'll just grab a little. I like that drum fill there, so I'll grab it and stick it in like this document which has like every idea in it, and I even arrange it. I'm so geeky, I arrange it into notes, but because I don't really know the names of notes, I'd call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And minor and major, and separate my beats into break beats and so I kind of listen back, and the listening process, just listening to records all day, almost triggers your own melody ideas, and sometimes you'll stop the song and you'll play your own version of it, which is completely different anyway, and then I'll listen back to those ideas months later and I go, oh, that bit's pretty good. So gradually these songs will just
reveal
So
themselves.
from the samples, you get inspired and you make like an inspired version, but it's your touch to it. It's your flavor and taste to it, right?
I mean, often it's so far removed that it's not. It is my idea, effectively. You know, and I never rip things off particularly. You know, yeah, and I'm interested in choppiness. I'm interested in this bit has this drum sound. This bit goes big. This bit goes small and messed up. You know, so I like, and I really want to explore that more as well. You know.
For a song like the Cookie Scene, could you break us down? Like, how long did it take for that to happen, to record it?
I think
put it together?
it started. I found there was an African song with kalimbas, I believe, which went. It didn't play exactly that, but it was near enough. And so that was the starting point. That flute thing, replaying that kalimba thing, which was different anyway. And then, you know, songs like Iko Iko. I don't know if you know that song, Dixie Cups. My grandma, your grandma, dead by the fire. There's some percussion on that, which is like sort of drumsticks hit next to each other and like finger clicks and clapping. And so I wanted to make the beat like that, you know, like rim shots and boom.
So it starts off more rhythmically for you. Do you start mostly with the rhythm?
It's an unusual song for the Go Team because it's a lot more minimal and a lot more, because normally my ideas have like 6 ideas in it. This one really has 2.
Built on that one loop, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of unusual, but I figured, you know, once you get into that loop, you don't really want it to stop. You know, it is what it is. You know, it's. I think of it in the tradition of, like, you got De La Soul behind you there. Do you know what I mean? I think of it in the tradition of the Daisy Age era of hip hop, you know, and Roxanne Shante, you know, people like that. But at the same time, I think it feels kind of unique. I think I think you'd hear it and you'd possibly know it was a Go Team straight away, maybe, even though it's not a conventional Go Team song, maybe. I don't know.
So you found that, right? And then you put it in, mixed it with, what's the next step?
So, well, I have a flute, I have Mellotron flute. So and then I got a real flute player to come in. So this room now we're in, and she played the flute part, doubled up with Mellotron flute and stuff. And then I got Simone. I went to the Isle of Wight and did the drums with Simone for the whole album. And this was one of the songs we did. So we were, you know, in a corridor, like banging radiators and knocking drumsticks together, and so slightly ramshackle. And I would get like a 50p on a bottle, just doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. What else did I do? I think
the vocals, the lyrics.
I think there was a kalimba on it. The vocals were, when I was in Detroit, there was a girl in the choir who went by the name of Indigo, who was a rapper, and she was like 16, 17. And so I could hear she had this sort of Roxanne Shante tone in her voice, which is so rare, you know. So I said, in the future, I'd like to work with you. So I just sent her an email saying, could you do some things over this song? The first thing she did was that phenomenal bit, phenomenal. But I asked her to go back and use the phrase, it's a da da, it's a da da da. So that's what she kept coming up with variations on that. So it's kind of a collaboration. I think it took about three backwards and forwards bits before it arrived at that. And then she went and recorded it in Detroit, sent it back to me. So yeah, I guess it's built in layers. And then we had Adam do the bass on it and stuff.
So you were in the UK, she was in, right? Detroit. Yeah. This was during COVID time, so you can fly.
It was
earlier on.
It was a few months ago. Yeah.
All right.
It's been knocking around for a while.
But you just weren't like close enough to, like, you were both busy. Like, why weren't you together when you were recording something like this? Or is it?
I couldn't really afford to go to Detroit, and it worked out fine. I knew from her demos that she was going to do a good job, you know. So I figured sometimes it's better to just leave people do their thing as well, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Indigo, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, and on your previous album, Semicircle,
So,
you have a bunch of different like names of different people, right? Hi, my name is Janelle, or
Oh yeah.
are all those like real people, or what's the?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, yeah. That was the
From the
those
choir?
are the those are the teenagers in Detroit. Yeah. That was a cool moment actually. Because I've realised that the key to it was for them to vary the way they said hello. Because if they all said hi, I'm a Virgo. Hi, it was, but it had to be, what's up? I'm Sagittarius. But yo, I'm, you know, it's like, which made it. I always love, you know, like Soul Train. You know, those old episodes of Soul Train where they do the dance down the line. Do you know that? The program Soul Train? No. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And all those.
Here's a real question. What's your star sign?
What's your star sign?
Virgo.
All right.
Awesome.
Bad.
All right.
Yes, I don't know. I'm not into star signs. I just wanted to. It's just
Neither am I.
to be honest, I'm not really into it. But I just wanted to know.
This one.
But yeah, no. But okay, Virgo. Cool.
Neither am I.
And this new album, you said this new track's off a new album, right? So there's a new one coming out soon?
Yeah, I don't know when it'll be out. I think it'll probably be next year, actually, just because of this whole Corona stuff. Kind of throwing a spanner in the works. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of mostly done. It's pretty much done.
What was the last?
Do you actually have fun? I want to ask this. Do you actually have fun when you play live music, or is it like more tedious than it is enjoyable? Like, what's your honest take on?
You could never call it tedious. It's the prize. It's the prize for this, because when you record, it's meticulous and it's day after day, and it's zeroing in on all these things and fixing problems. But when you play live, it's like the opposite. It's like, you know, it's unleashing all this stuff that it's been building up for years and months, you know. And I normally have about 3 or 4 years between albums. So, and particularly when you come to America, like touring America is one of my favorite things in the world to do. Just waking up in a different town.
Okay, so you answered my next question.
That's your favorite.
And
Which was
Japan,
where was your favorite? Oh, you've been to Japan.
Oh yeah, loads. Yeah.
Let's do this. So where have you played? I honestly want to know. Like, where have you gone? What have you?
We've been everywhere. I mean, we've been to Russia, Australia, Korea, Japan loads, America loads, Europe loads. I mean, yeah, Singapore.
What was the last live concert? Yeah.
I mean, we have two of the girls in the group have had babies a few months back, so it's kind of
congrats.
It's a new era.
Congratulations to them.
So we've got two go-team babies now. So it was 2018, so autumn 2018 was the last gig in Cardiff.
Oh,
so we're pretty out of the game, but I think we'll be back.
All right.
I mean, it's your chance to, since we have this whole COVID break, I think it's your chance to, like, you know, hit the studios, just like come up with some new good stuff, you know, so that once it's all over, you come back strong. We'll like just take the world by storm, one country at a time. Right?
Amazing.
Or do you
2021.
disagree with what I say? Or
Yeah, we'll take Q8.
You might just do that. You never know. But if you do end up coming here, hit me up. I can help you out with like venues and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when you're playing live, Ian, it sounds so different, obviously, because you don't have 100 people on stage with you, right, singing the choir. So what's your approach to playing live with the recorded music you have?
We do what we do, basically. I mean, we have the samples going off, and we have most of the time we have brass players with us now as well, just kind of beefing the whole thing up, because you can't beat that sledgehammer of real brass, you know. And Ninja does her thing. You know, she's amazing at doing what she does, but she can't make a gang vocal. So we are different, but Ninja makes up for it. You know.
All right. And let's tell us a little bit about you. And do you play video games? No. All right, but you made a song for a video game, right?
I know,
a little big video game.
It's funny, man. Gamers seem to have taken us under their wing a little bit. Little Big Planet is a big one, but we've been on a few other ones. And the new Sackboy game as well. It's got Mayday on it, which was kind of a big deal for them, but not for me. You know?
How does that happen? Yeah, it's a Little Big Planet, right, on the PS5 coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
How'd that happen?
How did it happen? I mean, the makers of the game, I think they're called Media Molecule. I guess they just thought Get It Together was a good fit. And it was quite cheeky, and it
fits it.
Lots of people can't think of it without thinking of the game, really. But you know,
it's funny because that was my first exposure to it when I was probably like 10, like watching the trailer for that. Yeah, like it's pretty much like a leitmotif for the game.
That's it. I mean, the amount of times I hear that people discovered us through that, because there's no money in video games. I think we got paid like £1,000 for that, or maybe less. But it was kind of like a free advert, really. You know, you were getting into people's homes and getting into people's faces. You know,
especially young people with that. Game.
I mean, it's for better or for worse. You know, it's whether they come only know that song, or if they come to you and stick with you and do the digging for the other stuff. You know, but lots of people have definitely heard of us through that, no question. You know, even though it's kind of an alien world for me because I've never done it.
Wait, all right, cool. And
so here's a controversial question, but I'm gonna ask anyway because why not, right? So we all heard the term like, okay, so famous, right? So when did you realize like, whoa, the Go Team is now like famous? Like, what was that one moment? You know,
I can guarantee we're not famous. We're still not famous now. I mean, we did quite well at the beginning there, but no, I certainly wouldn't think of it famous. I mean, me personally, I think Ninja maybe gets recognised occasionally. People might know the name. People might know the Go Team name, but not famous. We're still a cult band. We're a cult band. You know, I bet you if it seems like people that know us kind of really get into it, but most people are oblivious to it, really. And we do split people as well. Some people absolutely hate it, and I think the relentlessness and the trashiness and the gang vocaliness of it, some people just don't get, and I kind of don't mind that at all, because I have no interest in the sort of earnest Radiohead kind of world, you know what I mean? I kind of want to create a new way of being cool.
All right.
And join them, beat them, I guess.
And you've been consistent from the beginning to now with like your message throughout the whole music catalog. Is just that keep going, right? The Go Team, go go go. There might be haters, but you just got to keep going. How much is that you just telling yourself? Just got to keep pushing through it.
I don't know. It's funny. I've never really thought about it. I'm naturally attracted to dynamism because I'm not, me personally, I'm not like a kid's presenter or anything. I'm pretty cynical and downbeat and stuff, but for some reason I'm just drawn. And even when I try and write an album which is aggro and maybe darker, it still winds up sounding like the Go Team. You know, I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
I love that idea about music, that it's kind of, there's just some, it's like a fingerprint, you know, there's no, it's just like, you can't quantify it. There's no explanation why Neil Young sounds like Neil Young, or we sound like us, or Stereolab sound like Stereolab. There's just some thing that nobody can explain it. You know, what makes it unique, and you can never put it into words. It's just a thing. It's just a feel, you know.
I mean, it's like it's like to each his own. I guess this would apply here. Like the Go team has their own sort of musical style, right? Where if you try and change just any little bit of it, it's just not gonna sound like the Go team. So I guess you can just work on that and maybe like just make it better. But again, I'm not an expert in music for.
You said music by numbers, right? That's one of your original songs, right? You don't. Do you believe like there's like a good kind of like good music and bad music, or production or melody wise, and or is it just every person has their own unique interpretation of it?
I think there's different kinds of goodness. When you say something's good, it can mean a few different things. Say a song like "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift is undeniably an amazing bit of pop music. You know, it's like precision engineered, but it's not. It doesn't speak to, you know, it's not my thing or anything like that. So you can't. But then there could be another song which is completely you. It's almost like it's been like precision engineered for you, sort of thing like that. So there's different. It's like different degrees, or you can hate a song but recognize that it's good, or you know. So this idea of good and bad, or high art, the concept of high and low art kind of winds me up a little bit, you know, because I think pop music in its best form can be high art, you know, unquestionably, and equally as much as Nick Cave or Tom York. You know, the concept of darkness equals high art, I've never bought into, you know, but I'm not into vacuousness or bubble gum. Hey, but I think the perfect pop song is, and even that word pop is such a broad concept, you know. I think of My Bloody Valentine as a pop group, really, just because the melodies are so delicious and stuff like that. So stretching what pop means as well, you know, is kind of interesting to me, you know. But for me, every group is at their best when they're at their poppiest, you know, like Deerhoof are a pop band, you know, for me, and when they're poppiest is them at their best, you know. I don't know. So,
I can think of like Kanye, for example, with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like that's his most epic, grandest, poppiest album, maybe. And yeah, I know. Zach, do you have any?
It's hard. It's hard. That's why it's high art. It's the hardest thing to do. You know, it's easy to do drone music and plug in 1,000 pedals and make some unlistenable, which I love as well. You know, I love all that stuff. But it's when you get the sort of songwriting hooks, and that's what keeps him going, is the idea of hooks being always out of my reach, and I'm always just one. Maybe tomorrow will be my best hook, you know. So rather than just layering on random car chases and cheerleaders and trumpets and Charlie Brown piano, I'm not, which is probably what people think I do. They probably just think I layer on all this stuff. Really, I'm interested in hooks and the song. So that's why I never learned to play guitar properly or become brilliant at anything, because I'm more interested in the song as this perfect thing to strive for, you know, and it's a never-ending quest, you know. That's what keeps you going, you know.
All right.
I want to also talk about, so it's something completely natural for bands to, lose a member or like decide, to let go of a member. But what's not common among all bands is the reason. So can you discuss like the reason behind like why some people might choose to leave a band, why some people might choose to, just,
You want some dirt, basically.
not dirt. I was just wondering, like, what would cause someone to like leave a band? Because we asked the same to a very legendary Viking rock band group called Tyr, and he actually gave us a good answer. I remember he said it was like some people might just not be a fan of the music, or some people might not like the artistic direction they're heading in. So that was his answer. So is this also true for,
I mean,
like, your past members, or?
well, we had two members who became a couple, Cowrie and Jamie, who were in the first version of the band, and they became a couple, and then they had a baby. They've got two babies now, so that was them. They couldn't tour anymore, you know.
They had to, I guess, raise a kid.
That was one reason that we had romance, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I think Mackie left just because she couldn't give up that time. She had her own band and stuff like that. So bit of music, bit of time. But yeah, I mean, it's always because the Go team is really me and Ninja and Sam, who've been there from the beginning. Or we're a bit like the Terminator. We can't be stopped, you know. We can keep going.
not bad. But like, so who from the three of you, not who from the three of you here, let me change this question. How, like, if you come up with, let's say, this tune, right? You got the song, it's ready to be recorded. For example, like, what happens if they disagree with, like, what like, for example, they didn't like it or something like that? What happens there?
I mean, the Go team really has been my songwriting from day one and my tastes, you know. It's kind of like my brain on vinyl. So I like getting people's input, but I don't know if anyone else could veto it particularly.
Nice.
Okay.
So you just trust yourself with everything, right? So any thought you have, you just push with it, and if you like it, and you go with it.
I think I just think, yeah, if it's just a watertight, cool little song, that's really it. You know, it's hard to pick which ones make the cut and stuff, you know, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to satisfy so many things at the same time, you know. I want it to be experimental, original, really catchy, potentially exciting, you know, possibly, hopefully good lyrics, you know. So to try and get all of those things at the same time, you know, that's the challenge, you know. Make something that no one's. I think every band should strive to be uniquely themselves and put a sound there which only they could do and which everyone could recognize. I think every band should have like his own universe that almost like a mythology or something, like you could imagine, and it would just extend beyond music. You know, you could think what TV shows would or films or books or, you know, an aesthetic and that carries through everything. I like bands. I always gravitate towards bands that do that. You know, have a not just I'm writing a song. I like the idea of a coherent universe that they live in. You know.
Amazing, truly. Thank you, Ian.
So
that's great.
Zach, do you have any?
I wanted to ask Ian, what are your favorite movies?
So I love Midnight Cowboy, and The Graduate, and early Woody Allen, like Play It Again, Sam, Network, American Movie, The Straight Story.
A lot of American
movies.
Some Mike Lee stuff. All right, awesome. Well then, Zach, do you have any questions you want to ask?
I mean, I was curious about the new album and what do you have in mind for? You said you already recorded a lot of it. What's up next? Because I think the last two albums you've done a lot of different stuff, like really more so than anything else. So I'm curious what's next.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear people acknowledge that it is different, because the line that everyone trots out is, "Oh, it's more of the same." You know, that one song. So it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
But what am I doing? I am. It's hopefully it's kind of psychedelic in a way. It's kind of a bit trippy, a bit kind of lots of flutes and but a bit like a cross between the Scene Between and Semicircle maybe. So it's quite a lot of vocal melody, a bit those sort of curvy, My Bloody Valentine-esque vocals.
That's exciting because I think that song "What'd You Say," the first track on "Scene Between," is one of your best songs, and I thought that was like such a cool.
Nobody says that ever.
I think it's so catchy, and I love the production on it. It's very it's got that kind of almost shoegazy kind of chunk to it, but obviously not that much. But I think seeing more of that side could be really cool. And it sounds like if there's more psychedelic influence, there's going to be a lot of stuff to be said for.
It's not. It wouldn't be a shoegaze record, but nods to it. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I've always been interested in black and white music, kind of taking what I think of as the best of white music, you know, the Velvet Underground and kind of noisy stuff, and the best of black music as I see it, you know, the early hip hop and, you know, Motown and Northern Soul and stuff like that, and kind of that's kind of almost a never ending interest of mine, you know, how those worlds can collide, you know.
All right, so before we end off the episode, when would you like to drop the release date of your next album, exclusive on A To The Show? Maybe.
No, I can't give you that. Even I don't know it really. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's fair.
Fair.
I'm excited.
All
for
right. So
it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I will say this: your songs do give like a good vibe of let's go do this, you know, like it's good for spreading positivity, right? When a lot of songs nowadays is mainly just sex, money, drugs, you know, especially in hip hop. Like I grown tired of the hip hop scene nowadays because it's really repetitive, rinse and repeat, auto tune to the max. So it's good, you know.
There's music that isn't just hip hop. Wow.
I know, right? No, but I do listen to a lot of old stuff. So I was wondering, like, what's your favorite, like, out of the Go Team songs? Like, what do you listen to?
What out of my own music?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not particularly happy with any of the albums.
That's fair.
It's you know, it's like the way Woody Allen can't watch his own movies back and always just sees the faults and stuff. You know, I don't think there's problems with all of them, I think, in a way, but
they're not perfect and they're human, as you said.
Right. I think I'm quite pleased with the song Chain Link Fence off the last record, but yeah, I don't know, man, I'm too close to it. It's hard to say.
But like, who do you like? Who's your favorite? Like, who do you listen to? You know, like other than
who's my favorite? Like contemporary or
of all time, let's say.
Of all time. I mean, I've always thought Velvet Underground about the ultimate group, really, just because they're like a little gang and they kind of spanned so many sounds. You know, they were aggro, or they were really cute, and it would just jump around. You know, there's a million people. You know, Ennio Morricone is a big one. You know, MBV, Sonic Youth, Roxanne Shante, all of that stuff. You know, but lots of the stuff I listen to are standalone songs that were like some singer in the 60s who was like pulled off the street and to sing on this wicked little Northern Soul song and then just like disappeared and got on with her life. You know, so many of the things I'm into are things like that, these little standalone, unique, rare songs that I don't know anything about them. You know, I gravitate towards these little weird songs that exist.
I've found so many great like Northern Soul songs, just like looking at like, you go on Discogs and you see what was the most expensive records for the month, and there's always going to be a couple soul singles that sold for like $3,000 that turned out to be really good. That's like a cool way to find small Northern Soul and stuff like that.
That's an interesting one. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's like aficionados are like.
Yeah, it's like the people dishing out that much for you know, old 45s. That they tend to be pretty good.
Wow, I'm gonna try that one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so we have hit our time mark. So thank you very much for coming on the show. I think my closing monologue would be, their new song is out, guys. Go check it out. Like, I don't know why you guys are still watching this long ass video. Go check out their song. Like, why are you still here? Obviously, we'll leave a link to that in the song, like in the video description, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to let the world know?
Nah. If I'm happy, if you're happy, I'm happy.
Nope, nothing.
We're very happy. So hopefully you're happy too. Alrighty.
I'm happy that you're happy. So there we go. Thank you for being here. We will be signing off. And Zach, you're not new to this. You might be Ian. So the way we sign off is usually a salute to cover the cam. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.